welcome to another episode of Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show, where this week we're checking out the gorgeous new Aston Martin Vantage. With a fresh face, improved interior and more power, is it finally a Porsche 911 beater?
Plus two-wheeled fun courtesy of Aprilia and Audi's latest supersaloon.
Mini takes on Lexus in a battle of posh crossovers, and we head down under with Toyota's oldest new car. That's all coming up. First though, the news. JLR, formerly known as Jaguar Land Rover, is to slow down its rollouts of new EVs. Under its previous management, the company had originally planned to have 6 electric Land Rover models available by 2026, but that number is now to be split across Land Rover and Jaguar. JLR currently has 6 different plug-in hybrid models on offer, and says the spike in demand for these PHEVs has meant getting EVs to market quickly is less of a concern. JLR also says it gives them more time to ensure their new electric cars are among the best on the market. An EV version of the full-size Range Rover is due to launch later this year, for which JLR says it already has 16,000 expressions of interest.
Toyota's luxury offshoot Lexus built its reputation for quality and durability, making big saloon cars and posh SUVs. But now, with the brand looking to increase its market, it's expanding its lineup with its smallest car yet. It's called the LBX, a compact SUV designed specifically for Europe. It shares its platform with the Toyota Yaris Cross, but this is an altogether more premium offering and carving a niche for small luxury cars as yet untapped by BMW or Mercedes. Their smallest SUVs are the X1 and GLA respectively, both a class up from the LBX. With a starting price of just under £30,000 and with nothing but Volkswagens, Peugeots and the DS3 in its way, could Lexus be onto something here? Well, it certainly looks different to the brand's other models. Not only is it smaller, but it features a new design, ditching the gaping front grilles in favour of a softer look with a subtler grille and slim headlights. There are short overhangs, front and rear, to reduce its overall footprint and give it a sporty stance, while at the back the traditional L badge has made way for a de rigueur Lexus script. Inside the cabin, and it's immediately clear that the LBX is a big step up from a humble Yaris Cross. It's full of interesting shapes and creases, and the gorgeous 9.8-inch infotainment screen slopes down, blending in with the centre console much more neatly than a vertical screen that's clumsily plonked on top of the dash, as we still see in so many cars. It's fitted as standard with voice control, which acts a lot like Alexa or Siri. You say, "Hey Lexus," and ask it to do various basic requests. For tech lovers, there are plenty of gadgets and gizmos on the options list, including a so-called digital key, which allows you to lock and unlock the car using your phone. Boot space isn't the best at 332 litres, but the passenger space is excellent, thanks to the LBX being a bit wider than most others in this class. Powering the little Lexus is a 1.5-litre 3-cylinder petrol engine paired with a small battery and electric motor for short-distance electric driving. Performance figures are yet to be released, but with a total power output of 134 bhp, we don't expect it to be especially rapid. Base spec cars will be front-wheel drive, while all-wheel drive will be offered further up the price list with an extra electric motor on the rear axle.
So, with no rivals from Lexus's traditional competitors of Mercedes, Jaguar and Audi, how does it compare against this, the new Mini Countryman? As quirky as ever, it has a look all of its own, and while it's matured a bit from the Mini on stilts of 2010, there's still no questioning its heritage. This, however, is the most forward-looking Mini of the modern era. Gone are the retro rounded lights, replaced by some fancy lozenge-shaped LED numbers. The flanks of the car are a little flatter than the old traditional barreled doors, while at the back things look very grown up, with some swanky lights and the obligatory countryman script across the wide tailgate. This is the biggest car ever to wear a Mini badge, both 13 centimetres longer and 6 centimetres taller than the outgoing model. But crucially, the wheelbase is increased too, meaning plenty more space inside. The boot's bigger, and the rear seats can be folded and adjusted into 6 different positions, making it the most family-friendly car in Mini's lineup. Inside, it gets a similar cabin to the new Mini we looked at a few weeks ago, with that fantastic 9.4-inch circular infotainment screen. It handles all the usual audio and navigation functions, but also acts as a control centre for the new Mini's different experience modes. These interior themes adjust the cabin lighting, the screen graphics, and the noise the car makes, with everything from the classic timeless mode with old-school animations to go-kart mode, which makes the electric Mini sound sportier both in and out of the car. As before, the new Countryman will be available with a selection of petrol powertrains, and now for the first time an electric version. Petrol models are priced from under 30 grand, like the Lexus, and it too provides a more premium feel than the less aspirational crossovers from France and South Korea.
Both the Lexus and the Mini seem quite appealing. Premium surroundings at a bargain price point, with low running costs and plenty of badge appeal. Order books for each car are open now, with the first customer deliveries expected by the end of the year.
Aprilia's RS model lineup has been with us for over 30 years now. First introduced on the RS125 of 1992, it has since seen great success in motorcycle racing, winning 23 manufacturers' titles across MotoGP and World Superbikes with its 125, 250 and V4 models. Today, the RS moniker is given to 3 models: the aforementioned V4 Superbike, the RS660 Supersport, and the, since 2011, 4-stroke RS125. And now there is another one, the RS4 57. Positioned between the 125 and 660 models, the RS457 is Aprilia's attempt at taking on the likes of the KTM RC390, the Kawasaki Ninja 400, the Yamaha R3 in the burgeoning youth sport bike market. But does the RS457 live up to the RS moniker? Well, certainly looks-wise it does. It gets the same LED headlight design of other bikes in the RS range, with integrated indicators to keep the front profile neat and tidy, and MotoGP-inspired wings. At the back, it's the same story, with the M-shaped brake light design that we have seen on other Aprilia models. Overall, it looks great for a small capacity motorcycle. Even the colour scheme is classic Aprilia, with its red, black and purple livery, although it is also available in black and silver. The RS457 puts out 47 horsepower, which means it is right at the top of the A2 horsepower allowance, perfectly suiting younger buyers looking to progress. The only model that matches the Aprilia in this category is the Honda CBR 500R, although it is 18 kilograms heavier, so power to weight won't be as good. Adding to this, the Aprilia, thanks to a 270-degree crank in the parallel twin engine, sounds great and feels like the bigger bikes in the Aprilia RS lineup. Encapsulating the engine is an aluminium twin beam chassis like you get on the RS660, although the swing arm is steel in an attempt to lower the price point. Other hints towards the bike's entry-level credentials can be found at the brakes and tyres, which are by lesser-known manufacturers Vibra and TVS Eurogrip. Like the cheapest option in this category, the KTM RC390, the Aprilia will be manufactured in India, so let's hope that translates to a competitive price point for the consumer. If it can, then we see no reason why the RS457 won't jump straight to the top of the wish list for any novice rider. After the break, that's cars from Audi and Aston, and a slow one from Toyota. Coming up, the brand new Aston Martin Vantage. First though, over the last 12 months, Audi has been making its fastest cars even faster. We've seen souped-up versions of the RS6, the RS4 and TT RS, and the R8. And now it's the turn of Audi's supersaloon, the RS7. It's called the RS7 Performance, and here in the UK it is now the only version you can buy. So what exactly have they done to it? Well, for starters, they've given it more power. The regular RS7 is far from a slow car, but with higher boost pressure, the 4-litre twin-turbo V8 now produces a mammoth 621 bhp. That's around 30 more than the standard car, meaning this 2.1-ton saloon can, with help from its all-wheel drive system and launch control, do the 0-62 sprint in 3.4 seconds. That's the same as a Ferrari Roma. On top of that, the top speed has been increased to 174 miles per hour, rising to 189 if you spec the optional RS Dynamics package. As well as the supercar baiting top speed, this adds carbon ceramic brakes and a 34 kilo weight reduction. Drive is sent to all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is a bit more fun to use with a blinking shift indicator. Also in the name of enjoyment, Audi has reduced the amount of sound deadening between the engine compartment and the cabin, meaning you get to revel in more V8 noise, while also benefiting from an 8 kilo weight reduction. To further boost the new RS7's appeal, some more standard kit has been added, including some fancy new 22-inch alloy wheels. Otherwise, from the outside at least, things remain unchanged. It still looks as mean and intimidating as ever, with swollen arches and the signature RS oval exhaust tips. Inside, there are a few more changes to distinguish this from the regular car. The RS design package is fitted as standard, adding some body-coloured details and contrasting stitching, plus a flat-bottom steering wheel trimmed in Alcantara. You even get some bespoke puddle lights that project performance onto the floor. There's also an optional carbon pack, which adds black wheels and some carbon fibre trim, but all cars come with a fancy Bang & Olufsen sound system, and just about every known bit of safety tech this side of a space shuttle.
However, the Audi RS7 is far from being the only big German supersaloon. This is the Porsche Panamera Turbo S, and it can do this. Like the Audi, the Panamera uses a twin turbocharged V8 engine, sending power to all four wheels. The horsepower figure is identical at 621, but it will hit 62 miles per hour from a standstill 0.3 of a second faster. Top speed is higher too, at very nearly 200 miles per hour. The current Panamera has been with us for a while now, but it remains just as impressive as it did on debut in 2016. It's had some nip and tuck since then to keep it current, and there's no arguing that the cabin remains as modern and luxurious as anything from Audi or BMW. However, the Porsche does not come cheap. The Turbo S starts at more than £141,000, nearly 23 grand more than the Audi. The Panamera GTS is more comparable on price at 110 grand, but power is down to 472 bhp.
The big Audi then seems to offer good value, relatively at least. If you want to save even more money, the more practical RS6 matches the RS7's performance for £3 less.
They say that nothing lasts forever, but clearly they forgot about this, the legendary 70 Series Toyota Land Cruiser. Rather different to the leather-lined Chelsea tractors Toyota sells here in Europe, the 70 Series Land Cruiser, or LC70 for short, is a back-to-basics 4x4 that's been in production now for nearly 40 years. Believe it or not, this is the brand new 2024 model, but you could be forgiven for mistaking it for a 1984 original. With an "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" attitude, Toyota has simply never seen the need to replace it. And neither apparently have the people that buy them. From African militaries and UN peacekeepers to Australian farmers and international overlanders, the back-to-basics LC70 has a surprisingly loyal and lucrative demographic who continue to buy into its famous reliability and first-class off-road prowess. Available in a variety of practical body styles, the rugged LC70 is about as utilitarian as new cars get. That said, this new 2024 model is not without its modern accoutrements. LED headlights are fitted as standard, and there's a host of new tech in the cabin. Okay, it's not exactly a Range Rover, but the hard-wearing plastic dashboard is jazzed up with a smart new steering wheel, and, in Australian spec cars, an infotainment system. With Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, the new 6.7-inch touchscreen does look rather incongruous, sandwiched between the old-school heater levers and the iconic Toyota digital clock. Toyota has even gone to the trouble of adding a lane departure warning system and speed sign recognition. Very 2020s. What isn't so 2020s though is the exterior styling. The LED headlights are complemented by a new grille, but otherwise it remains pleasingly faithful to the original. Everything from the badges to the door mirrors is pure 1984. The biggest change is to be found under the bonnet. The familiar 4.5-litre diesel V8 is still available with 202 bhp and 317 pounds-feet of torque, but it's now joined by a brand new 2.8-litre diesel 4-pot. Toyota reckons this blends the dependability of the old V8 with the economy of something a bit smaller, while not losing out on performance. Indeed, it produces almost as much power as the V8 and more torque. Better yet, you can even have it with an automatic gearbox. The 70 Series then may be more idiosyncratic than it was 40 years ago, but it's lost none of its charm, ability, or its target audience.
When we first clasped eyes on the Aston Martin Vantage back in 2018, it left us with two big gaping questions. Firstly, what on earth happened to the front grille? The next big question was, who signed off on that interior, particularly the dated Mercedes infotainment system? What we didn't have any complaints about though was the performance. With 503 horsepower on tap, the baby Aston could hit 62 from rest in just 3.7 seconds, while its excellent handling made it more than a match for any 911. Now though, it's time for a new one, and this is it, the 2024 Vantage. It's a facelift rather than a whole new model, but boy is it effective. Aston has clearly learned from its mistakes, giving the new Vantage a proper Aston grille. It's a beautiful, muscular looking car, with styling borrowed from the new DB12. It's slightly wider than the old car, and the rear spoiler is more pronounced. They've certainly improved the looks then, so what about the interior? Well, we're pleased to announce that it's good news in here as well. The awkward dash of the old car has been replaced by the same sort of flat sloping design as the bigger DB12. It's a vast improvement, and one we suspect will see Aston fans scrambling for the configurator. So then, it looks better both inside and out, and retains that wonderful 500 horsepower V8. Well done, Aston. Good job. What's that? They've altered the engine too? Oh yes they have. Instead of fixing the iffy bits and calling it a day, the Aston engineers have gone mad. The twin-turbo AMG V8 has been upgraded with bigger turbos and reprofiled cams. The cooling system has been completely redone, resulting in a staggering increase in power. When most cars are facelifted, they get a 10 or 15 horsepower increase as a courtesy, but the new Vantage gets a whopping 656 brake horsepower. That's 153 more than the old car and only 5 less than the new DB12. The baby Aston isn't such a junior anymore then. The result is 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds and a very grown-up top speed of 202 miles per hour. It does beg the question though, will anyone still buy the DB12 when the new Vantage is both quicker and cheaper? Time will tell, but in the meantime customers will have to wait until next year to get their hands on one. Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we check out a tiny new Volvo with Porsche performance.